2, episode 12 of the EML podcast. What's up?
Welcome.
Welcome all. I'm Vid Dirteed. We're here with Tycho and Ozzy Sirius. We're going to kick some ass for you this week. Last week was heavily on the gaming.
Yeah.
We're going to get back into, my mic sucks.
Yeah.
D's
got some
full
some
disclosure.
mic
Our
issues.
microphone issue is real.
This is like I'm going to have to bite the bullet and buy a new one for next week because this is the last time we can put up with this shit. It's gotten worse.
Mhm.
So,
Right. Progressively.
got to crack a beer.
There you go.
So it's hard to figure out where to start this week because there's been so much shit going on. Like we just had Valentine's Day, and and so that's its own thing. But we've had big movie releases. We've had a lot going on in politics.
Yeah, I went and saw a movie.
Yeah, which one did you see?
I went and saw that Alita Battle Angel.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
dude. It's good.
Is it?
It is.
I've heard good things.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard good things.
I've heard good things, but I've also heard not so good things.
In what regard?
Well, it's not that the movie wasn't good, but it's that people weren't thrilled about the design of the character. Like, some people complained about how they made Alita look in the movie, and it wasn't even the big eyes.
So is this coming from? Now this was also like a manga or manga. How do you pronounce that? A manga?
I think it's manga or manga. I don't know.
It's a Japanese
Yeah.
animated
Comic
graphic
book.
novel,
Yeah.
basically.
Comic.
And anyway, so are the people complaining the fans of it, or is it other people?
It's like the critics. So there's let's see his name. He works for Screen Rant. He's a writer, or she, Molly Freeman. So she wrote an article basically complaining that Alita was too sexy.
Okay.
Or her body type is
Well, here's the actual quote. It says,
unreal.
"The movie fails to compellingly explain why her android body conforms to a sexualized ideal body type. Like being in shape, like to be able to like kick some
being
ass.
slim and slender, being able to fit through small spaces.
Oh, maybe
Oh,
she
how
should
about
have
being-
been like 400 pounds. And,
How about-
she's supposed to be
doing
a warrior.
backflips and
Or
stuff, right?
be pleasing upon a men's eyes, so that maybe they might have
God forbid they
True.
might want to go see a movie that's got a good-looking chick in it.
they might lower the guard to some sexy thing instead, not some like 400-pound
I don't even think that
blue-haired
this looks
chick
like
running
a.
around like.
Oh, I'd be on my guard if that was the case.
Well, I mean, to me, the character looks too young. Looks like a kid to me. I don't see what's like. I don't know. It looks
yeah, it's
childlike,
kind of supposed to be like a
does have a
teen.
child-
like a teenage
Childlike.
girl.
But if you've seen like the manga, it looks really similar to what the manga's got going on.
Okay, so
So
it's
what's her complaint? She wants
Um,
us to
well,
bend over backwards for her frickin' political ideologies and shit.
Well, it's kind of like
okay. So right there, that paragraph.
yeah, this part right here. It basically talks about how she transforms the body that she gets. She's a cyborg, right? So
So
she can have different bodies. They can install her into different bodies.
I see.
So she gets this body, which is for battle, right? It's like an alien
Battle
tech.
angel.
Yeah, and so basically she can reconfigure the way it looks. And
Well, maybe next
what
one
happens,
they can call her Battle Blimp or
I don't think anybody will
Battle
watch that,
Whale.
man.
I
I don't want to see that.
She just goes around belly flopping fools and smashing them.
So there's a comment. There's a comment that's made while she's basically conforming herself to the idealized sexual form or whatever.
Quote unquote.
And so the quote basically says that this is how Alita thinks she should look, right?
Okay.
And so this person's trying to
kind of like in Matrix when when Neo assumed his persona. That was just his ideal persona.
right. That's like his mind's eyes,
Right. And how he
perception.
views himself perfectly. Right. Gotcha.
Exactly. So this person's just complaining how it gets turned into a sexualized feminine body, but it's like, what else was it supposed to be?
What's weird is like I'm just kind of glancing through this article. I haven't read this article, but where were these people complaining? For the last 60 years or 70 years of this.
That's a common argument to a lot of things. It's just like a lot of it's like criticism of advertisement. Using like unsurreal body images, like how you have to be anorexic or bulimic to, most women would have to be that way to look like that.
Sure, but
You
I
know?
mean, they could also work out
Well,
and eat healthy.
to some
God
to
forbid
some
that
degree.
they actually work for it.
Oh, you're right. Put some
Right.
effort into something.
Yeah, but that's the idea, is that it's like a surreal, like, and why is that good for fighting? Well, we can come up with reasons why that's good for fighting, why that might be good to to throw off your enemies, look really good and be attractive.
But the thing is all these professional athletes and stuff that these ideal body types come from. Guess what? That's how they look. It's
And
because they have to be able to perform.
right.
That's peak performance.
That's
And
being
what it
in
looks
good
like.
shape.
And that might drive what is ideal. If you look at us as a species, we look at each other like, how well can this person survive? I want to be around that person. I want to be their friend. You know what I mean? That's like how the attraction forms. It's like
subconscious.
Yeah, it might be subconscious. Like, and why that is the ideal is probably because that makes them perform better.
Oh,
Exactly.
hold on, dude. I have to know. Is there a picture of the chick who wrote this article?
Oh man, I bet you we could find
She's
it.
dude.
Molly Freeman.
Let's see what this chick's all about. Yeah, see?
Oh,
See?
she is not the
she
ideal.
She is not.
Do I sense a little bit of jealousy?
Dude, I knew it. I knew it. As soon as I thought about it for like half a second. I was like, dude, she's got to be a heifer.
So this is what
She's not a
Alita.
heifer.
She's not like hella fat, but she's
average looking. Honestly,
She's thick. She's thick, but not
She got thick in the
Thicker,
shoulders.
thicker.
Little,
She's maybe
buckled, though.
thicker.
Her face is
The forehead's like a drive-in movie theater,
Yeah,
but
dude.
honestly,
she's got a
Honestly,
bald
though.
spot. Dude.
oh man, that's mean. That's mean. Hold on. But this is what Alita looks like in the comic, guys.
Okay.
Look at this.
yeah.
So,
That's a good
so this
translation.
is really just
Yeah,
what
it
the
looks
manga
good.
looks like. This is just being
And
true
she
to the
even
source.
says that in the article too. She even says that in the article, and it's almost like she defeats her own argument in doing so. I'm tired of this tripe trash article shit like this.
Oh yeah, dude, the rampant.
Yeah,
rampant.
it's almost every fucking movie, and I don't know if it's like people that are trying to promote the movie just sending this shit out to see if it gets some vibe, some viralness to go into it, so that we can, then perform the movie for it. Because any kind of
Dude,
publicity is
it's what
good.
it is it's clickbait.
Yeah,
she
it's
gets
click-
more
yeah.
money
Right.
for hate clicks.
for being that
Hate
way. No,
hate
yeah.
clicks, yes.
As long
For
as
the
there's
hate
traffic
clicks.
coming to the page to read the articles and the ads are getting seen, that's all they give a fuck about, dude. And
Exactly.
it's
Well-
like it's
What's really telling is if you look at Rotten Tomatoes.
All right, let's look at it.
Okay, this will explain it.
Ooh, wow.
What's going on with the 60% critic
Rating,
score?
and then a
That's
92.
60%'s the bare minimum to get a fresh
What
rating.
was that one movie that was terrible, and it gave it like 100%
She-Ra?
rating?
The Last
She-Ra.
Jedi.
The She-Ra.
Oh, She-Ra.
That's the one we talked about. Yes.
Yeah.
This is another She-Ra in the opposite direction.
She mentioned She-Ra basically
Oh my
in
goodness.
okay,
Yeah.
she makes a point in this article about She-Ra saying that the ideal woman fighter looks like She-Ra, the new She-Ra. So basically she's saying the ideal woman fighter's body type is more of like a girl boy. Like they got to look like a
Right.
I
A
some
saw
kind
it.
of
non-sex.
androgynous.
A
So
non-sex.
okay,
being,
so
yeah.
basically, oh man, I can't believe it.
Dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she making the point out that like if it was really about like being battle worthy, she would have looked like a tomboy or something.
Not if you're it's a cyborg. You're a machine. A small machine can be stronger than a big human.
Dude,
Like a
especially when you
small
see what she
yeah,
can do.
Yes,
man.
exactly. Like when they're smaller like that, you might not think that's true, but if you have the force to and you're smaller, it hurts more.
A bullet's pretty
Because-
small.
No,
You got
'cause
lower
the
center of
surface-
gravity.
More force, less surface area, more impact. That's
But
just science.
That's
physics, bro.
that's in
Physics.
some regards.
It's
Now,
physics.
Science, bitch.
there's also a lot to be said about the leverage one can get from a full extension on a real long arm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But
But
you know,
when you got that low center of gravity, like Mike Tyson,
bam.
where you could just fucking
And
explode
but
into
see,
him, dude.
She's even smaller than he is. So like,
Well,
imagine-
she's not jacked like he is.
No, he.
Maybe
she
that's
is.
the thing.
No, she
Maybe
is.
what she
That's-
should be complaining about is she's not buff enough.
No, man, she's a cyborg. It's a machine.
Oh, okay, yeah, good
That's what I'm
point.
saying. It's like stronger. Like muscle mass doesn't matter at
Well,
that point.
Yeah, well, see, this is the complaint is that it's sexualized, and with seemingly very little muscle, and this is
Yeah, see, and
this is
that
the
I do
argument that they're
understand.
making.
Sexuality to deceive people is a very common tactic when trying to steal from people, when trying to do anything bad to people. If you want to kill people, being attractive and be like, seduce them, that works, bro. I'm just sorry, it works.
Well, let me read this. Let me read this quote.
This is a good transition into the next topic that I wanted to.
Right. Just one more quote from the article. So this is what doesn't make sense. She goes further. It also doesn't make sense that any women, human or cyborg, having the opportunity to transform their body into what a warrior's body should look like, would enlarge her breasts and trim her arms, waist, and legs. For examples of how actual women think warrior women should look in the media, just look at the redesign of She-Ra on Netflix.
There's the quote. Okay.
So it's like, no, warrior women, I don't think should look like boys.
They can be strong and not grotesque.
They can be feminine.
Yeah.
Strong and feminine. What is wrong with the strong female?
Is that why do I got a problem against strong and not grotesque women?
It's because
Why
it
you
doesn't.
hating?
It like you mentioned you mentioned this in like earlier episodes that it doesn't look like them, and they can't identify with it. Therefore, they can't accept the story.
Right.
And
It doesn't look like me. It doesn't apply to me. I can't relate to it.
Yeah.
So I don't like it. So
Alita
I must
Battle
change
Angel
it.
sure didn't look like me, but I sure freaking liked the movie and could relate.
My point is that somebody that can
But
entertain.
why does Alita, the battle angel, have to be a girl?
Right.
Yeah, why should it have to be sexy?
Well,
Gosh.
And another point, like what trying to like what Tycho said before about girls just one-hitting shit. Little petite girls just one-hitting things like.
Yeah. Why is it One Punch Man and not One Punch Woman?
Yeah. Well, One Punch. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no one wants to touch that because it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
That movie's
One
that
Punch
show
Man is
so
that-
good.
Oh, dude, I gotta watch more of that, dude. I
It's
love
the
that.
I gotta
best.
start it.
It's the
I do.
best.
Oh, dude.
I already know.
My guys,
I know.
my guys.
He's all like
My
down
guys-
and depressed because
guys,
everything's too easy.
I don't watch many, but those are so good. Like
Yeah.
they're so good, man.
I maybe watched like 2 or 3 of them,
Like,
man. I was just like,
It's
dude.
refreshing, like a fresh glass of water. I've been at the desert for like years, man. And it's this glass of water you see from far away. You're like, whoa, no way. And you watch the whole thing through, and you take that whole cup and you drink it down, and it's great. And you want more, dude. You're like, when's the next, dude?
Yeah.
When's the next? And actually, it's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like that when I finished Alita, man. Alita made me feel. I was like, when is the next one coming out, dude? This
You're already
is
ready
so
for more.
There you go. Yeah,
because
that's
the
a good
manga
one.
keeps
What's so good
going.
about it?
It's just a premise, man. It's like there was a big war. It's about like 500 years in the future, and like the whole world's changed. Like this company runs everything on the Earth, and it's like a scrap city on the surface. But up above is this like floating city, and that's like it's a mystery. Nobody knows what goes on up there.
It's like some Chrono Trigger shit.
No.
Yeah.
What's that one movie with Matt Damon and where he starts off and it's slums on the earth, and then there's like a floating city above.
Elysium.
Elysium.
It's kind of like Elysium, but the thing is, the place is called Salem, and you don't have any clue what's going on up there. And it's like all you know
gotcha.
is that they're dumping their trash down onto the surface, and they dump Alita.
Oh.
She's trash.
One of the guys.
Oh.
She's trash.
One of the characters.
Why didn't you write about that, Molly Freeman?
Oh, without
Yeah.
the fact that this woman was
trash.
literally thrown in the garbage.
They threw her away.
Maybe because she wasn't
Spoiler
the
alert.
ideal woman warrior body type. You know, maybe that's
why she threw her away.
No, it's not that big of a spoiler. You find
That's
out in
it,
like the
man.
first like 30
we
seconds.
we cracked the case.
destroyed.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that just reminded me. Like we're in the coming week, we're gonna. I want to try to attempt us doing like a live stream where we actually have these visuals for the viewer. Or it would be a viewer at that point, but the listeners and stuff. And that whole destroyed thing.
Yeah.
Like when the one hit kills in Guilty Gear, that's what it says.
That's a headshot.
So, like,
dude. We just
dude.
headshotted this.
Like
place.
I'll get that clip of that music.
That'd be good.
It's like and they'll be like destroy. Yeah, dude. I'll try and get that shit, but at some point, we're still kind of we're growing this slowly but surely. We're in the
in beta.
experimental. Yeah, we're doing the beta for all this. So this is interesting because I saw something the other day, and I won't get too much in my personal life because that's not anybody else's business. But I recently went through a breakup, and you kind of start your head gets in a different place. So I found some of these MGTOW videos.
What's MGTOW?
Now, MGTOW stands for Men Going Their Own Way.
Okay.
And this is a thing that's been around for a while, but I don't know if it's just because I stumbled across it again. But I had seen it in the past, but now it seems like it's growing at like an exponential rate. And I don't know if there's any way to track these numbers.
Well, you can go to the Facebook page or
I've seen it steadily increasing over the years.
It's been steadily increasing, but it's
channels.
like I think that like there's been a surge recently. Basically, okay, so for people who aren't familiar with this whole idea, a lot of these MGTOWs, they get a bad rap because a lot of them are really bitter, and they come off as like hating women, and they get this whole it's like a stigma. It's like a lot of times they get insulted. It's like, oh, they're incels, or like they're involuntarily
involuntary
celibate.
Can I chime in
Celibate,
something with
yeah.
real quick with that?
Go ahead.
Like when a woman wants you to be attracted to them and you're not, they go from and they realize that there's no chance for them at all. They'll go from the sweetest thing in the world to just bitching about you and like you're the worst.
They'll
and,
call you
like,
gay. And
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you're fucking
Like,
gay. And they're taking
disparaging.
you don't want to
They-
fuck me, or you must be gay.
Yeah, you must be gay. You must be. You
They
don't want sex with
do
me.
like to go for that gay accusation.
And some of them, not all of them, do that. But like for instance,
It happens
there's
enough
this,
that
there's this one like really hot chick that like was into me, but I was like, you know what? I got family. I got a girlfriend. It's too complicated. I don't want to do that. You're really beautiful though. Like
it's like sorry, but
like,
I'm loyal to my family.
yeah, but and then like
and she's like, oh, you
that-
must be gay then.
that night, it was just like I don't understand why guys stay in situations that are terrible for themselves. Blah blah. It's just like completely.
She couldn't get her way,
Yeah,
and you were the
it's
bad
just
guy.
Like I hope he's reading this.
Oh, yeah, it's like he's
creeper
loyal
mode.
to
Was it
his
on Facebook?
girl,
Yeah,
and
Later on,
Facebook, yeah,
she's
it's
like
the same
blogging
night.
about you and you're reading it.
Yeah.
No way.
That's
That's
funny.
bad.
I mean,
Nice,
it's
dude.
happened. It's just, and
Yeah.
okay, it's happened twice with me now in the last year. So I'm going off at the evidence that's shown to me. I'm right. People might have different experiences.
Well, the
Right.
thing
Mileage
is
may vary.
when you actually get into what these guys are about, a lot of these guys are bitter for a reason. Now, a lot of these guys have been through really nasty divorces. A lot of them have been ripped off by women, used by women, and they when you watch these videos, I mean, I'm always kind of skeptical going into anything, but it's like they're quoting statistics that are just staggering, as far as well, there's the divorce rates for one. That's hanging right around 50% these days.
That's atrocious.
And so think about, okay, so 50% of marriages are failing. Now, in the court system, who gets custody? Women. And that number is, this is a figure I'm quoting off the top of my head. I don't know if it's super accurate, but it's somewhere in the area of like 80 to 90%.
yeah,
Sounds like an incentive.
Yep. And think about this. They get half the man's stuff. They get half of,
if they're married.
So these guys are like, I watch these videos and I can't help it but say they're making some pretty good points. And it's really about, the imbalance of society as far as men and women go, and just the horrible relations they have with each other right now.
Yeah.
Some of these guys are talking about these Tinder dates that they've been on, where these chicks they'll come in there and they'll just order up like, a $300 meal, and the whole time they're on their phones. They have videos of this shit. Like, the guy set up a camera going in because he recorded the telephone conversation they had beforehand, and she was like, oh, my last boyfriend, he would give me $3,000 a month, and I'm just looking to upgrade. And, like, this chick, she doesn't even have
It's like a job.
Any-
It's like a job for her.
Yeah.
She's
She's not
working-
bringing
she
anything to the
working
table
people.
except
She was like, my salary with the last guy was $3,000 a month.
yeah, I'm looking to make $4,000 in this one. And so,
it's
like,
a freaking job.
dude, and it's sickening, man.
That's sick.
And just seeing this stuff, it kind of makes me, like, a little scared for society, at least relations between men and women, especially because, they're really against all the feminism, and
Well, what
It's
what
so
types of women are like this though? You have to look at the type of person that's gonna be like that. Like they're
I think
usually
younger.
really into social media.
20s, right?
They're really
Well,
plugged
right.
in.
Of course. So
Yeah.
that's the thing is these guys. This is like a. I mean, I've watched probably too many of these videos, but I got a pretty good understanding of where these guys are coming from. And one of the things, they have a lot of their own terms, And one that they talk about is the wall. Now, the wall is when a woman hits a certain age where her looks are no longer working for her. And these are women that spent, all their teenage years, all their 20s, and up like about halfway through their 30s, getting whatever they want because they're beautiful. And they treated men like shit their whole lives, and they waited for families and stuff. And now there's been a surge in women in their 30s and stuff, like millennial women that are getting their eggs frozen because they can't find any men that want to have a baby with them.
So it's like their look stock is crashing.
Yes, and they call that the sexual marketplace.
Yeah, that stock is crashed.
It's crashing. And these are
We're in recession.
And the thing
They're
is,
in a recession.
is their male peers, theirs is skyrocketing. Because now they have resources.
I can attest to this.
This is true
I
shit.
can sense
Man.
I'm 30. Okay, I'll be on full disclosure. I'm 33, and I'm starting to get white hairs. But I'm getting a lot more attention from females now.
So do I.
Men do age more graceful than women.
But the thing is that's the thing, is the roles reverse over the years. So if you're like a young dude right now and you're having trouble getting some action and stuff, just wait about 10, 15 years when you got your shit together, and these chicks are going to be coming at you hard, buddy.
Well,
so,
it's not even about getting action, because it's not hard to get action. But
I mean
it's
like
hard
quality.
to find somebody that's worth it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like you'll find the people that are worth it.
And it's because of stuff
Eventually.
like Tinder or like all these dating apps they have now, where women, they sign up, they put up a few pictures, and their inboxes explode.
Yeah.
There's thousands of dudes hitting them up. They get their pick of the litter. And I don't know if you guys have ever been on a dating site, but have you ever tried to hook up with a chick on a dating site?
Yeah.
It's a lot of fucking work. You got to message a bunch of chicks, a whole bunch of them don't
that's
even
what
respond.
That's what kept me away.
You got
to do a lot more work than they do.
You got to have openers and lines. and all this shit.
If you bore them, they'll just stop responding. If you say something wrong thing, and it's all just a crapshoot. You're just
it's like supply and demand, and the supply of dick is way up there beyond the demand for these dating sites, and so these women are just
they all flock to the same players with the dough who just pump and dump, and then they're like, why are there no good guys out there? It's because you're going for the dudes that are just plowing through
what we
you.
should do, guys, is as a show, make a profile on a dating site and just start saying different things.
This is a great idea.
We
could say that you make
this is experimental media laboratory.
Yeah, you could say
there it is.
We'll find some real dude. We might know some guy who might actually let us put his pictures up. Some really good looking guy, and then it'll be like, yeah, I make $500,000 a year. I'm a CEO at some startup.
I work at a woman law firm, and
yeah.
I usually represent myself.
I usually represent myself.
I just graduated law school. I'm just looking to find somebody fun.
Yeah, it's like I'm just looking to. I have so many resources. I just don't know what to do with it.
I just need somebody to spend time with.
Right.
Yeah. I bet you we
call
do.
my secretary, and it'll be one of us, like the other guy. Like I'm a I have a male secretary.
Hello.
I'm for equal rights and stuff like that.
I'm sure we could find a girl if you wanted a girl secretary.
Oh, dude, yeah.
To be on it.
No,
Easily.
we could set a date to come here on the show.
Oh no, dude.
Yes. It's like, welcome to your interview.
Well,
come on in, babe.
Come on.
Why don't you have a seat?
Here's the microphone. Dude.
Busted.
Some cool shit.
Oh, dude, we could set up cameras and everything,
Yeah.
dude. This
I
would be
know.
comedy gold. She would just be mortified.
Oh no,
She'd probably just turn and run right out the frickin' door.
Who knows?
It'd be bad.
You never know.
Whatever
how
it is,
that
it would
turn
be.
out.
Whatever
Well,
it is, it'd be
actually,
bad.
you know what though? Maybe it would be a cool perspective to try and just say, "Oh, I work for a, some kind of interviewing thing, like something like that." So it's
Like a
she comes
cover?
in to actually think she's gonna do some stuff, kind of like how they switch it up on the people in those interventions and shit. They think that they're showing up to smoke some crack, and then all of a sudden it's all their family
Just
there.
be like, hey, we set up a date. Well, actually, a couple of my guys showed up, so it's gonna be 3 of us here, but we can hang out and have a good time, And then you just show up. You're just be like, oh yeah, we also.
Oh, he
have
just
a
went out for a
podcast.
drink.
Yeah.
Or he's going to get some beers for you,
Yeah.
Oh, she would feel so catfished like immediately if you said that shit.
He'll be right back.
Honestly, though, we're not like bad-looking people, so it might be like, oh my god, I got 3 of them.
Right? Like, oh, this is better than what I thought it would be.
All 3 of them.
Right? Yeah.
With their mentality, it might be that way. Like, I'll get one of these motherfuckers.
Maybe all 3 at the same time.
I'll let him train on me for $6,000.
Yeah.
All free.
I got 3 holes, boys.
Oh, yeah, listener discretion is advised. I actually put that on the last video.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry,
no, dude.
No, that's cool.
More power to us. We're just letting people know, hey man, don't listen to this shit around your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't let them listen.
Yeah.
Get them out the room.
My brother was listening to stuff, and like he said, I didn't have a disclaimer on there, and like he said, like his teenage daughter came in while he's listening to it, right when you were talking about some really over the top shit, and he's all like turning it off.
Sorry, man.
No, it's all good, dude. No, I mean, but that's the thing. It's like I've actually been thinking about, like, you know, we need to start getting like some logos and stuff, so then when we get the website up, you know, we'll have some legit stuff like that, and we got a lot of, you know,
legit warning signs.
Yeah, we'll have like a really fancy, like, listener discretion is advised kind of thing. You know, look all cool and badass and with the logo. You know what I mean?
Maybe it can be done with like the movie trailer announcer guy. Maybe we'll get somebody like him to do like a disclaimer.
Well, we could try our attempt to make our own voices of that, because that's, you know, it might be a little easy to do.
Right.
One more
coming this summer.
Yeah.
Don't listen around your kids, because it's fucked up.
The shit you're about to hear is really fucked up.
Yeah.
That's funny.
You know, so MGTOW, man. Like, before we move on past that, I want to give my 2 cents on it. I think it's a good thing. Okay, but like, here's one point I want to bring up. This reminds me of. Well, I don't know if anybody else has heard about this, but like the destruction of the family unit.
Yes.
Yes.
Dude.
You know, and
That's
how
been happening for decades.
the smallest form of government is a family.
Yeah, the states
model it off of how a family runs.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we talk about this, you know, with like when families separate and all that stuff, and women get half the man's money, and then he has to pay, you know, child support. And she gets the children, and he gets only to see them on the weekends. You know, it's like a little imbalance here. We're almost feeling that in politics too. Like that Ocasio-Cortez chick, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has so much of the limelight, dude. Like, she's getting so much of the spotlight
because she's hot.
The media,
but it's like woman's privilege, bro. That's
totally.
That's a woman's privilege, right?
I agree with you.
I mean, like, you can be a smart person and quiet and not have a confidence about you, but you might know something, right? And some wisdom that might be shareable.
Mm-hmm.
But because you're not a hot chick or, you know, a buff dude, alpha male looking dude, you don't get hurt, you know. And it's just so funny how the direction just focus on someone that says things like, you know, facts don't matter when you're morally correct.
She literally said that.
You know, that's a quote.
That was
that's
an
an oxymoron.
We can look that up. Like, no, she's saying like, I'm right because I'm right, and your facts don't mean anything because I'm right. Like, it's one of it's that circular logic where it's just like,
yeah. It's
not backed by anything but the fact that she's saying it.
I think a book, you know, George Orwell's 1984 said it best. Double think is a double think, because you're doubly thinking that one way being factually right is wrong, which is not true. That's an untrue.
I'm sure if she actually had the facts in her favor, that she would be totally for that.
But she overrides that
she
with another truth, and she has so much passion behind it that it means more to her that she's morally correct. And she might be morally correct. She was talking about billionaires in context of this quote. She's talking about billionaires. It's morally wrong to be a billionaire in this era. And that might be correct. You know,
I mean, yeah,
if you have
some
more
of the
than
stuff she says is
if you have more
okay.
than you need and other people are starving around you, that might be correct.
Right.
But being factually correct and right is just as important. I would almost say it's even more important than that. But you just like you almost strawman the whole argument that billionaires are immoral. Like, you literally did that, and she doesn't know that.
If she actually did the research
and presented
it,
yeah,
she might have had a really good argument.
Right,
because there's a lot of information out there that does back up that stance.
Yeah, and then it's not.
But
like
the fact that she's just a good-looking lady who with a lot of passion and a lot of that's not enough.
her rack is amazing, guys. Have
Dude,
you seen the
she's
video of her
super
dancing
fine.
around?
I don't want to.
that?
I don't want to check her out, dude. She's just kind of.
Don't do it.
Nice
She's.
rack.
I'm sure, dude, but that doesn't mean I want to look at it.
I mean, I could
It's
look
not
at
as
it
bad
and
as you
know-
think.
I
It's
could-
not like she's on a stripper pole.
No.
You know, she's like dancing on a rooftop.
I don't
like,
want to think of her in that way because
That's
she's
who
just
she
she's just
is,
dumb-
man.
Yeah, she
That's
used to be a bartender, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
She
It's
was a
like you got to
bartender
really
before
look at
she
who
was-
she actually is as a
And
person.
Ron L. Hubbard was a Denny's server before he created Scientology. I mean, just like there's a lot of different.
Ron L. Hubbard was also a science fiction writer before he created Scientology.
Oh.
Well, that's what started Scientology, his science fiction writing.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's like the birthplace of it. He wrote the thing and made it a religion. He wrote the book while he was a
No, but
Denny's
he
server.
had other stories too, though.
yeah.
He was an accomplished science fiction writer. That's how he was able to write the Dianetics or whatever, because he was such a good science fiction writer.
Mm.
Well, he wrote like it was a series. It was like a really big series he started. I forget the name of it, but yes. Anyways, digressing into Scientology.
Right. Which,
Back
to
I mean,
Tom
the
Cruise.
thing is like she also this Ocasio-Cortez chick. She's like living in a fantasy world. Like some of these things she's promoting, or like not promoting, but like proposing. She's talking about like this Green New Deal, where literally they expect our whole country to be off of fossil fuels by 2030.
Yeah, that's it's unrealistic, man. And I want to point out one thing here. You know this carbon tax thing, and they're like for the environment. I want to point out one thing I've brought to people's attention, and when I say it, they have no words for it, and I want to bring it to you guys. So when you have a carbon tax, and you're like, I want to save the environment, I want to start taxing carbons, right? That makes food prices go up if you think about it, because distribution of goods is heavily weighed upon how trucks move around, and diesel and biofuel and all that shit, like it plays into it. So when you tax
It's raising the cost
oil,
of fuel.
it's raising the cost of food.
It affects
And then
the
you have
supply chain.
then you have a
Right.
homeless population that has problems getting food. And it's like, my point is, like, when you do stuff like that, it makes people go hungry. But the people that do this are well off. They're middle class. They're like, living in Bellevue, or Redmond,
Yeah.
Sure.
Bellevue, and like tech job people that are well off. Don't have a worry about that, And it's funny how that disconnect happens. It's like there are people that care about the poor as well. They're like, oh, I want to help you, but like more like a white man's burden thing. Like, you're fucked up, and here's some 25 cents.
Some white guilt.
Like, yeah, something like
Well,
that.
Well,
Yeah.
see, the problem with the carbon tax is that it doesn't make any sense, okay? Because it's not just like taxing carbon monoxide or something that comes out of your tailpipe. It's taxing carbon dioxide, okay? Carbon dioxide is what you exhale, man.
Plants filter that shit.
It's what plants breathe.
Yeah.
Plants breathe. They need carbon dioxide. So if you were to have an Earth that had an increase in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, what you would actually see is a greening of the Earth. The Earth would
Yes.
get more green. And actually, there's
greening,
there's
right?
scientists that will back
saying
up this
it's
claim.
greening
Real
more.
climate scientists will say that there is a real greening going on where the Earth is exploding with vegetation because
Right.
there's so much carbon dioxide, and that's a good thing. That's more oxygen for us.
I think it's just a natural balance of the Earth swaying back in the pendulum form. It's like when the environment gets have too much carbon dioxide, it's more food for the plants of the air, and then they grow faster.
The argument is that it's the rate at which the carbon dioxide is
absolutely.
increasing.
And also
But my thing is, it's like carbon dioxide is not going to warm up the Earth to the point where we're going to change the climate.
And I want to bring a point on this because like there's a lot of let's go. I want to share some of that because there's a lot of scholarly articles out there about climate and how much the sun affects it. And like the main one out there, it says that it only affects it by 0.3%. And what you just said right there about how carbon dioxide, like they say that carbon dioxide does the other like 99.3%. But that doesn't make sense to me. Just my opinion. I'm a high school graduate. I have no science degree, but I would think the sun's activity has a little more to do with how much heat hits the Earth than how much emissions we have of going into the atmosphere that cause global warming.
And you're talking about solar cycles, right?
I'm talking about solar cycles and the climate average global temperature. What affects it more, solar activity or carbon emissions?
Well, let me answer that with a question.
Okay.
What do you guys think about Harvard, right? They came out and said that they were going to start spraying particulates into the air to basically act like tiny little nano-sized particles of
To
mirror.
catch ice?
No.
Oh.
It would be like a reflection, reflecting the sun's rays back into outer space to help prevent
global warming.
global warming.
But
Now, Harvard has come out and admitted to
what if
starting
it's
this.
cooling?
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, what I
man.
was thinking is like, why couldn't you just do that in the same vein to like somehow come up with renewable energy?
Well, they're reflecting the sun's rays back out into outer space, which is supposed to prevent global warming somehow.
Greenhouse effect.
The greenhouse effect.
Yeah,
I
so the
suppose.
greenhouse effect is when there's the ozone is depleted, and the rays can come through and bounce in between the cloud cover and stuff, heat the planet up, and the ocean's enough to kill life on the planet. We've talked about it before. The grand solar minimums and all these solar activities and many little ice ages and years without sun. There's a lot of data out there that conflicts that, and it's just not mainstream. And we talk about things that are outside the mainstream and question it, and like I encourage everyone to check it out because there are NASA scientists out there talking about these solar cycles and how they might impact the weather a lot more than 0.3% than what people are saying. And it's like, just because someone with authority says it doesn't make it true. I mean, there's a lot of times in history that's
when
been
you
wrong.
when you look at all this stuff as far as how long they've actually been observing climate the way they have a very, very small sample as far as what the whole planet's been through. I mean, I think it's I could see where they do the research and they get the data and they come to their conclusions.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that I don't think they have a big enough sample to really say that
Well,
that is
from
100% what's going on.
When telescopes were in Galileo, 1700s, 1800s,
Galileo.
that's a couple hundred years. And the data that I'm talking about is from like the 1800s. So
That's
this is
what I'm
within.
saying.
This is within. You can see the sun's activity. You can measure temperature on the Earth. You can start correlating maybe sun activity and Earth, temperature.
Well,
that's
you had referenced that the sun basically affects the Earth's climate or temperature in a very minute amount, right?
Yes.
But then you'll have an extremely accredited institute like Harvard saying that they want to save the Earth by reflecting the sun's rays back into space, like it's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It's going to make it not
logic.
warmer. It's going to say that it's this.
But if it makes such a tiny impact, it's like that doesn't make any sense.
No, the
That's what
solar
I'm
activity
exactly.
does. No, they're trying to combat carbon emissions because the greenhouse effect. Carbon emissions affect the greenhouse effect by not allowing the rays of sunshine to go back into outer space, like reflect off the planet and go back. They stay inside the atmosphere, heat up the atmosphere and the oceans, and create a greenhouse effect, like light coming in, not enough heat escaping, so you have a warmer temperature than it's actually supposed to be than to the environment outside of it. That's why they call it a greenhouse effect. So, they're trying to say cooling the planet's better because we're trying to fight the warming of the planet. But there are other conflicting scientists that are accredited that worked at NASA and all this other stuff that say solar cycles have a little more to do than what you're saying. And that's, they're out there. And, we can post links after this, after the show and show you to it. And
and it feels like the Earth is actually not warming up, but it's just cooling down.
I mean,
like,
we had a record snowfall in Washington here.
Record snowfall and negative
Polar vortex over the northwest.
Negative temperatures in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, like -40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
crazy
places
shit.
that shouldn't have it that much, That's my point.
They'd be throwing like boiling water out the window and it's freezing like before it hits the ground.
Yeah. Yeah,
Cold.
dude. It's
Like-
cold. It's cold.
When you think about like your freezer, you ever work in a kitchen? Like you have
Yeah,
a
I do.
walk-in freezer.
I work at a restaurant.
That's like 20.
Yeah.
It's negative.
Like
yeah.
plus 20. It's getting 60 degrees colder than that.
Yes.
Like, I can't even fathom how freaking cold that
That's like
was.
slap you in the face cold.
I've experienced it.
have to.
The wetness on your nose, sweat, it freezes to your face. You have ice on your face, dude, and you feel like you're gonna die. You feel like you're so cold, you're going to die.
Yeah, it hits you like an impact,
like a knife
Dude,
cutting through everything.
I was on Red Dead Online, and I just randomly came into a server, and the first thing I heard a guy say, this was during that big snowstorm, I heard just right in the middle of a conversation, the guy is just like, it's so cold. He was like
dying, dude.
He's like just trying to play his game and just ignore it.
He's under like probably
so
like 8 blankets
cold.
in his living room with
He's
no
got,
heat.
like,
They probably had like, you know,
oh no,
'cause the wind blows.
Well, he had power, so
Oh, he had power.
I mean, he's playing a game
Probably just
online.
poor as shit then. Like,
Well,
a lot
no,
of
I
people
mean,
poor
it
people
might
live
be
it.
so damn cold that like the heat,
Your
the-
heater
the
can
heater
barely
can't
keep up.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. No insulation
it's so
in the house.
cold, dude.
Yeah.
Like -40. Like I can't wrap my head around that. Are you heading to the fridge? Oh, can you grab
Yeah.
me a beer on the way back?
Hey, we should take a little recess real quick.
Yeah, we can take a little recess, kind of
we'll be-
regroup for a minute.
Yeah, we'll be
We'll be right back. We'll be right back. You guys won't even know we were gone.
No, we'll be back in like instant.
We're back. Hell yeah. So we told you it wouldn't be fast. It was super fast. Anyways, we got to talking, and we kind of had a different direction that we were gonna go at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Well, D was sharing a little bit with us with the group, and so he felt like he wanted to share with everybody else too. I think.
yeah. So basically, I'll just be candid and just get right to the freaking point. I've had drinking problems on and off for many years, many years, and it's varied from bad and like manageable, but sometimes it's just manageable. So that's when it's not a problem. But sometimes it gets bad, and then sometimes it gets really bad. So right now I feel like it's bad, and it's mostly from a health standpoint, and like just the discomfort that comes from not being able to remember what you did the night before, and just kind of like everything being hazy, and your body demands it. That's the real trick that makes it difficult, because when you get like I don't know if you can relate to this, but like I mean if you're a heavy drinker like every day, and like I don't have it extreme. Some people get like delirium fucking DTs and shit where they can die,
Yeah.
and it's a super serious thing, and they need to be like under the care of a physician, but then you got the kind of stuff where your life is still together, things might not be the best, but but you're just tired of feeling like shit.
That's how you feel.
Like, well, it's like you're sweating. Like it's like if you're not drinking. If you're drinking, you're okay.
But I mean,
But you're
that's
you're
happening to
poisoning
you.
yourself. Yeah. So it's like, I'll get the sweats.
Yeah.
This is probably maybe varies from like 12 to 24 hours after I had my last drink. I'll just start getting that cold sweat. I'm just like, oh fuck, and then it's coming, and it's like you get a lot of anxiety, and you get spooked real easy and shit. Just like. You hear like a sound, you're just like shit, it's like fuck, and it's like I twitch so hard, like I like throw up my back, like what I'm saying, like
Damn.
it's like so it's like you're getting these kind of like I just know that I'm not in optimal health, so that was kind of what we were talking about. So what I've been working on is drinking less
Yeah.
to start,
Well,
just going cold
let's-
turkey's crazy, but we were talking about nutrition deficiencies.
Yeah, let's kind of pry into this, man.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us what kind of diet you have going on?
My diet, it varies a lot. It's like I try to eat a lot of vegetables. Like,
Okay, so
I
you're
try to eat
so you're
some.
like getting this from like the grocery store, like in the produce section.
Yeah,
you're
so,
going
like
through
so.
there, okay.
Yeah, I have a bunch of frozen stuff in the freezer, but I usually go and get them fresh from,
Okay.
the store, and then eat. I'm eating fruit. Like apples, bananas, and shit.
How often do you have fast food? Any?
Lately it's been less than usual, and I'm maybe going like twice a week.
So twice a week, kind of a habit.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like I don't think that that's not healthy, and the alcohol is especially the unhealthy thing. You know, I think other than that, I eat moderately okay.
What about
Sometimes I'll eat like a macaroni or something, or like a, you know what I'm saying? It's or like I'll get a fast food burger or something.
How much are you like drinking though? Like, are you drinking water, man? Like what's
I drink.
what's your water intake look like?
It like that's another one that varies, but a lot of days I'm drinking a pretty significant amount because I'm so dehydrated.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's
So
like
you're
I
also
need
drinking
it.
alcohol.
You know, like
You're also drinking
like
alcohol too, though.
that's what I'm saying. The alcohol dries me out.
Yeah, but what kind of an amount though?
Of water.
Yeah.
Like I'll get a jug that's maybe it's like a gallon jug, and I'll drink maybe like half of it.
Okay.
Maybe like a half gallon of water. I could probably drink more. I probably need more.
Yeah, I think something like
But some days I'll drink that whole damn thing. But that's usually if I'm exercising. So I would need even more then. So
honestly, my personal opinion, I feel like that is not enough water. And honestly, that's barely enough. Like for somebody that's
drinking
in like good shape, right?
Right.
Like
but the thing is if you have a more docile kind of lifestyle, you don't need as much water.
Well, I beg to differ.
But I'm just saying, it's like I might not
yes,
have that docile of a lifestyle. So I mean,
we're
I do have a water deficiency for sure.
We're exposed to a lot of things these days that we may or may not be aware of. There's a lot of stuff even in our water, in the food we eat. You know, there's things lacking in the soil that our food grows out of, like nutrients that are just gone that'll never come back. So our food is really not what it used to be, and there's a lot of stuff going around in our food that we don't know about. You know, there's GMOs that they may or may not be in our food.
And cancer causing glyphosate. You mean that's in a court ruling, guys?
Well,
see, court ruling. That's court ruling. I'm talking glyphosate causes cancer, and it's in our food.
Well,
Monsanto.
There's a good example.
Has broken up because of it.
And
thank God.
That's a good topic.
That's a great thing, man.
But what I'm trying to get at is the amount of water that you really need today is so much more than you're actually told from like an official source. Like you need to drink like a crap load of water, guys.
I mean, 8 and 8 seems like a lot.
No, it's
like
more
than that.
You should be just like trying to drink as much as you can because you need to flush out. You need to be constantly flushing your system.
Yeah.
Because you can't let stuff sit in your system because there's a lot of heavy metals in the air. Like I was talking about Harvard, talking about spraying particulates. The particulates are pieces of metal, you guys.
Yeah, what's going to happen?
Aluminum,
it falls down to the earth.
My main concern when you brought that up earlier was like, what's it going to do
aluminum
to the atmosphere to breathe
toxicity.
that shit?
And it's also aluminum is in all our food. It's also in vaccines and stuff like
vaccines.
that.
Yeah. There's plastics like that can you're drinking out of right now has a plastic liner. That stuff.
It's probably been recycled, man.
It
multiple times.
Nanoparticles break off inside that stuff.
Yeah,
and
you can taste the water.
It's like I can feel it like
fill it up with water and drink
There's
water out of it. Drink water out of that
there's
when you're done.
okay, they had to stop making plastic out of BPA. It was a substance that would basically it had a chemical in it that would trigger a hormone that would turn animals into like homosexuals.
Oh, you talking about like frogs? Yes, and
I didn't want to say
insecticide,
frogs.
but they also do the insecticide and herbicides and shit like that, and like you've seen frogs like change sex and
they were using that for a liner of cans and it was what they're making plastic bottles out of, and now it's BPA free, mind you. Okay, there are stuff that it's all BPA free, but you have to understand that the people that put this kind of stuff into this they know about it, man. Whether or not you want to put on a tinfoil hat, I don't care. But it's like these people do this stuff, and then don't be surprised if when they get caught and told to take BPA out of their plastics, that they're gonna put something else in. There's always something going on in your food or in your containers, man.
Well, there's a Henry Kissinger quote about food. And controlling who controls oil controls a nation. Who controls food controls the people.
But
quote me. Quote.
Yeah, that's
Google that shit right now.
Right. We gotta have a link ready for that one.
That I quote. I'm on game with the quotes. So that was, I think, word for word.
Yeah.
I don't think I just saying. That 100.
Yeah, when you start thinking about it, like you can start quoting it more and more accurate if you keep trying to quote it.
That's true.
Like kind of like a learned.
Oh, I just
thing.
I remember reading it. Here's
a weird thing, man. You ever like like haven't read a book in a while, and you open up a book and you're like, shit, I haven't read a book in a while. You know, like you can like your reading speed isn't as fast. You're not taking it in as well. You know what I'm saying?
No,
But like,
I don't really.
Well, the thing is like I would read like. I remember like the first time I read Henry Miller's Tropic of Cancer. Like that book was so fucking good, dude. Like it changed it changed how I thought as a human being. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, whoa, it's like it's really over the top in a lot of ways, but it's brilliant.
Well,
just
actually, you know,
unbelievably good.
I do kind of get what you mean because I used to be able to like finish a book in like a couple nights back in like.
Dude, I
middle
read like
school,
6 of his books in like a month.
Yeah.
And they were like most of them are like 400 pages. You know, I was just like I was reading so much, like my vision was starting to blur and shit. I'm like, fuck, I need glasses. You know, like holy shit. I was reading until my eyes were strained. It was
you gotta become a bookworm.
I go through phases and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like I just need to find some stuff that good. You know, where I can just read 6 books in a month. You know, and love it.
Yeah.
I just haven't read a really good book in a while.
Yeah, but you know, going back to getting healthy. We were talking about, you guys.
Yeah.
I really think that the amount of water that is required to really feel better, because I mean, guys, be honest with me. Doesn't it seem like everybody's kind of a little more sluggish these days? Everybody kind of complains about being a little more tired.
It's because they're just getting old.
But even the young kids even talk about this stuff. Why is there so many energy drinks everywhere? It's like maybe
they're all addicted to caffeine and they're not getting enough.
But because they feel tired all the time? Why are they feeling tired all the time?
People don't get out and do much, man.
But do you see where I'm getting at, though? It's almost like an epidemic, man.
Right,
it's almost like, come on, there has to be something behind it. It's not just coincidence,
You're recognizing a symptom.
Right?
It's technology in general,
right?
dude. It makes people just want to look at their devices. And it makes people want to just, stay in.
You could say it's technology.
They're driving their cars instead of, riding their bikes or walking.
But these are physical ailments going on, man. Like, people are feeling more sluggish these days. People are complaining about being tired all the time more than they used to. You know, coffee is a huge industry. And it's like
it's so addictive, man.
Well, it's addictive, but why are we always so tired? Like, something's going on.
Coffee crash.
Something's going on. Something's going on, man. Something that you are not aware of.
I bet you the people who don't drink coffee are
and it's not coffee. It's not coffee.
Coffee
coffee isn't causing this.
I mean, we can dig in. Coffee's part of it.
Coffee's not causing this. What's causing this is an unknown. There's an unknown factor. That's what I'm saying.
You're saying it's all about nutrition.
No, I'm saying no. I'm saying you have to come. I'm saying is you have to combat.
People are responding. I think what Tycho is saying is that people are responding to a need or desire that is not supposed to be happening. Basically, that people are reason there is a coffee industry is
I'm giving you lots of reasons why it's happening.
Tired and want to buy coffee.
I'm just saying that it's almost like
what about people smoking weed? Anyways,
well, that's a different story. I'm just talking about people that don't even smoke weed, man. Like people that shouldn't be this tired. Like, why?
Probably drink coffee.
Why is Red Bull and Monster all over these like youth sports? Like motocross and like everything. Like why do the youth feel so tired, man? They should be young and virile and full of energy. They shouldn't need a dang energy drink. And the thing
if they're in college, they might.
The thing
they
is,
can't fucking get all their work done and shit.
Is like, you gotta. There's something like an X factor going on that I feel like the more you keep your body cleansed, the less it's gonna affect you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because there's something else going on. And it's in the water, or it's in the food, or it's in the
air. Thing. What kind of water should people be drinking then?
Well,
we can't just drink it out of the tap.
They should be I think you should be drinking
shit.
Yeah, you should be drinking filtered water.
In essence, we're talking about toxicology here, right?
Yeah,
we're talking about toxicology, like toxins.
As far as
in our body and being able to get them out.
Because that's what I was saying is multifaceted, man. Like so this is all metaphysical experience that we're having. And when we poison our bodies with, the bad food and the fluoride water,
exactly,
and all these, too much coffee, too much energy drinks, people doing drugs,
alcohol.
Yeah, look how far I put alcohol down the list.
But
you know what I'm saying though? Like this is it's a multifaceted thing.
Multifaceted.
And it's like and then
But
you look
there
at
could
it
be
from
things-
all those angles, and that's really what's
But
happening.
I'm saying you mentioned known things. I'm talking about there could be unknown factors.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, yeah, like the stuff in the food, man. It could be.
Well,
We don't know.
The
That's
kind of
the
stuff
thing.
they say
We
about
don't know.
fluoride, dude. Like, they've
the
been
one
doing
thing
that
we know,
for decades.
The one thing, yeah, we know about fluoride, but the one thing we know is that we don't know what else is in the food and the water. That's my point. And so with that knowledge,
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
So we know that, right? So with that knowledge, we know that we should be keeping our systems flushed as much as possible, and that goes for almost any circumstance, you guys.
I'm gonna get me a water filter.
Yeah, I mean,
That's my first step, because I do need to flush this body out, dude.
You should.
I need to.
You should
So,
drink. You should drink more water in your
You know,
entire life
what I'll
than you
do is
ever
I'll,
have.
I'll probably get like some of that detox tea, and
but maybe
you know, like some of
There's
these.
good
maybe
tea, there's
clean
good
water.
tea.
Maybe
Yeah.
you want like water with not a lot of pollutants in it. You
That's
know,
what I'm saying.
and
Get the
that's-
filter.
The
Get a
things
good
that
filter.
you know, there's water with just a certain amount of like acidity, I'm assuming, and
There's pH balanced water.
pH balanced water. You probably want, you know, something that doesn't have foreign objects in it, like metals and stuff like that, you know, or maybe ones that have the right metals you want.
How would you
Minerals.
detect all
minerals
that?
and stuff
I mean,
like that.
vitamins.
Yeah,
that might be an
stuff like
interesting
that.
experiment for us to do, is to actually get some equipment that could test stuff like that and check all the faucets and stuff.
No,
and-
take a water, just pour one glass out and pull it out.
Yep.
But like,
You can send it to a lab.
you can send it to a lab and pay for it to have it done, or
Yeah.
bring it back and tell
Probably
you
won't be
what's
expensive
in it.
either.
Everything, every single thing. We'll be like, we can Google it right up and be like,
We got
What
that.
is-
Should be,
But
that should
we-
be a project.
We
that
already
we
know
do.
tap water is
There's
horrendous
a
in this
couple- there's
country,
a
though.
couple
Look at
things-
Flint, Michigan.
okay, so you know,
That's what I'm saying. Oh, dude.
taking a pulse from the internet, I've viewed a lot of stuff about aluminum and like how it's in the waters and how there's not been like a toxicology report on the effects of aluminum on the human body, and there's never been a study that done on how much, if there's a lethal dose of aluminum. You know,
that's
interesting, and because when you figure it's in everything, look at a box of cereal and see how much aluminum's in it, and then you're gonna start being like, why the is aluminum in this? Like, in
Yeah,
my
I-
cereal?
kind of
I remember the thing
residual
about
or-
the cereals and
You know,
stuff.
and how much.
Well,
yeah.
I was in Tequila at the mall, South Center Mall, and I was running the tap water to wash my hands, and it started coming out brown and white.
I've seen that.
And
in
it's
places.
like, dude, it's not just Flint, Michigan, man. It's like it's here too.
Yep.
And just like the
was
cereal.
it super old plumbing and shit, or was it?
Well, in
Yeah,
the South
pipes.
Center
Had
Mall,
to be,
and it
man.
was the original Sears store.
Oh dang.
They tear that one down.
No, bro.
No, not the original, but it's the one they built
Oh
in
my
Tequila.
goodness.
So
Oh,
maybe
that
that was like
was
from
There's
the
some
90s,
problems down
or
there.
Okay.
late 80s.
You know what my conspiracy theory is? That Tukwila is sitting on top of a huge lake of shit. And it's underneath the ground.
It's got a septic.
That yeah. A lot of those
It's not a
places are
septic.
septic tanks.
Dude, that's where
Think
the
about all
poop
the turds.
factory is.
Where do you think all the yes?
That's
the
where
poop
it is.
factory?
All the
It's
shopping
right
malls.
there.
It's
It's
right
right next
there.
to the
Yeah.
The
the
Targets
It's right
and shit.
across,
the
dude.
Bullwinkle
Yeah.
fucking fun site.
Yeah. There's
It's-
a huge lake of shit
it's-
underneath
Dude,
Tukwila.
and that's why it stinks.
Yes,
all
it
the
stinks all the
time.
time down there. Because, bro, I've been there, and there may or not been like places that like shit came out of the drain and had to shut down. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
All right, bro. Like, dude, I really think that this might be true. We're onto something here. And,
We are.
You know, like the truth is out there. So
Yeah.
you know, keep it real, folks.
Yeah. Do
I
your
worked in
research.
this. I work.
Come to your
Dude.
conclusion.
Oh man.
Do your own research.
We could have a whole segment where we just tell crazy ass stories of shit we saw. And some of it, yeah, I'd have to be
Yeah,
careful.
like-
You know what I mean? Like it's.
Take it or leave it. That's what I think, motherfuckers. I don't give a shit.
Damn disclaimer. That's a
I don't give a
No,
fuck.
I'm just saying, like, you know, it just a thought that came up in my mind because I may or may not have had some certain experiences down that way. You know what I mean? Saying, you know.
Dude, this has been a good show, guys.
Yeah.
I think we had a lot of fun. We got some good stuff in there, man. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to posting it up for everybody. And you know,
So what are you gonna do different?
Oh well, I gotta drink a bunch of water, man. Right
Focus
now, what
on
I'm doing
self.
right now, what I'm doing currently.
Focus on self.
Yeah,
man.
totally.
Just
I always
water
am.
drinking.
I always am, man.
Healthy decisions,
And
not
s- and-
indulgent decisions.
Right.
Water drinking.
Exactly.
Healthy, not indulgent. And discomfort is growth. Comfort is the enemy of growth. If you're comfortable, you're not growing.
Here's a good analogy. The lobster, right? When he starts to feel uncomfortable, that's when he sheds his shell. So if he never felt uncomfortable, he would never
He's
grow.
just like taking off his jacket and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, all right,
He would
motherfucker,
never
I'm ready
grow.
to scrap.
But he starts to feel uncomfortable, so he takes that shell off.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, it's like literally from just a chemical standpoint for like anybody out there who's like maybe thinking about trying to wean themselves off too. It's like if you're drinking like the malt liquor, like Hurricane or something like that, just drop down to like a 16-ounce ice house, man. Like it's way less, you know. It's like it's still cheap, you know, and just have the idea to just keep it mellow rather than be trashed and forget shit.
Harm reduction, folks.
Yeah,
Minimize.
Tone it down.
Yeah,
Just,
you don't have to go cold turkey and shit.
One day at a time.
Because I was trying to do it cold turkey for a few days, and it was not a pleasant experience. So I'm kind of I looked into it. I did some research, and they were saying like this is not a professional opinion, you know, but a possible suggestion is to just drink lighter beers and just kind of tone it down, drink less. You know, and then eventually you'll be at a level that you're not going to be destroying your life, you know.
Yeah, because for a minute, man, you were like Hurricane, Slurricane.
I do it. I know it.
The Slurricane was real, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
No,
I listened to the freaking.
Yeah.
I listened to him, man. I was
know.
like, damn. I was fucking trash.
Yeah.
That will be on the bonus materials.
You're right.
Because a lot of them I cut out, dude. Like on the stuff I posted, that shit ain't even
like
on there.
That's like the Patreon shit.
Yeah, once we get the Patreon up, that's the kind of material
why
you
would
can
do
get.
it? But I think that's a bad business model. You're gonna make people pay for that shit?
Fuck yeah.
No, dude. That's
Fuck
evil.
yeah.
That's evil. That's totally
no,
evil.
no, because totally, you know what though?
Because it's so raw, it's so candid.
But it's not good.
It's awful.
It's like people
awful.
like think about
It's like it's
buying that. Think about being the person that buys that shit.
No.
Think about
It won't be all they get.
Yeah,
okay. I'm just saying.
That's just one of the things.
I'm advocating for you guys out there, okay? I'm on your side right now. That's what's going on. All right?
Ozzy's
I'm an
your
ally.
friend.
Yeah, dude, Ozzy, oh, so serious right here. Dropping some bombs.
Why so serious?
That's me. I'm all
Hey,
over
man.
the place.
Like that's what I'm saying. I'm just becoming more self-aware. You know, like
We all are, man.
I had I was going through a tough time, man.
I know. I understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
and like I kind of got out of hand, and I'm glad you guys were around for me, stuck through the bullshit.
Yeah, man, dude.
problem.
It's all about love, dude. No one's
We're like
perfect,
brothers,
man.
man. Around here, dude. Like we've
Yep.
known each other for like decades.
Yeah,
I'll
be honest.
Fucking-
Like it was hard, but I was like, dude, it's cool.
You've
I
seen it before.
Yeah, I know, and I've seen it
you've seen
before,
it
and
before.
I
It's
recognized it. I was like, man, he's going through some hard times. It's
He's
just like,
getting-
I was just like-
you
and
saw the
also,
pattern emerge again.
You know, I was like, this is good. Like we're gonna keep doing this.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like having it be a recurring problem. You start to learn. Okay, yeah, it's a problem now.
you can
how
see
to
the
stuff it better.
Right. You manage it.
Not get in trouble or do something stupid. You know, it's like
Yeah, man, it's a battle.
you know that's the thing. You know, it's like getting in trouble with the law sucks.
Yeah, that's not what you want
It
to
is
do.
a real fucking bummer. It changes
not
all.
what I
Like
wanna
you
sorry.
lose your freedom.
It dictates a lot of your time.
You gave it away, being a fucking asshole. You know, and that's a hard thing to deal with, man.
You
Like,
gotta
any of
realize.
these guys listening to
I just wanna get real
the
deep.
system. No, they're
Can I
like,
get real
yeah,
deep real
it's
quick?
fucked up,
Can I
man.
get real deep real quick? Why do we give our freedoms up to somebody that just takes them away when we do something wrong? It's just like this idea of freedom being.
Well, we have laws in a society.
Well, there's someone just basically saying like, I own your ass and you're gonna do what I tell you and
Well,
how I say
think
it.
that
You know.
their standpoint is that there are laws in a society, and people have kind of agreed that the laws should be followed and enforced, and that's why they can, just do whatever they do to people. You know.
Well, what I think is honestly the ultimate authority is derived from God. That is, and that's where our Constitution was based.
I don't think so.
No, that's the truth.
Well,
man.
here's the
Not-
thing.
I mean,
This is,
no,
you know what, guys? We're at the
the
105. We'll
Constitution.
leave it on that.
Well-
we'll leave it on that.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's
Staying out of
modeled
the-
off of it, but they made the church and state separate thing. So like it like.
Well, I wasn't trying to debate the semantics.
No, yeah,
but,
right.
But what I was getting at is that the ultimate authority comes from God, right? So, there's just some universal, and you can replace the word God with the universe,
collective
right now, or or just the
that's what it is.
The overall whatever. Okay, whatever label you give God, just listen. We all have universal, ideas about what's right and wrong. Like killing somebody is wrong, no matter what. Unless it's in self-defense. That's kind of just a universal known. It's kind of like in the court of law. You don't kill somebody in cold blood. Like that's murder. Killing in cold blood is murder.
Yeah. So there's good things.
Well, it's also murder when it's done for a reason.
Well,
other than self-defense.
It is. It can also be murder. But what I'm getting at is, it's a universal law, pretty much. Is
just don't go around killing people and shit.
Because that authority to dictate that is derived from God.
And that's the opinion of some, but to people that are just not tuned in like that, and maybe shut off and like closed off to that idea, and maybe behind a shroud or a veil that they just don't know is there, might experience it as just like that was bad. That felt terrible.
Yeah.
That had bad repercussions. That had bad. It was just bad. That's bad. I think it's in the code of our quantum reality here. It's like written into the source
built
code.
into the survival of our species.
That it's
God's
representative.
law is supposed to be written.
It's represented
in you.
In everything he touches and created. And if that's the theory that God created the earth, you can see it.
It's not a theory, dude. Come on, there's way more evidence.
I'm just honestly,
there's more evidence to support that the earth was created.
I'm speaking from the perspective. I'm speaking from the perspective of somebody behind a shroud, behind a veil.
Yeah,
and it's not that, that's where a lot of people are. And
that's true.
And shrouded from what is known. It's like you just say you don't know. I don't know, or I don't believe.
Go look it up, right? Yeah, that's the other thing people do is they'll just tell, like, instead of explaining it to you, they'll tell you to just go look it up.
No, you'll find it out. You'll see it played out, and once you start catching on to the pattern, and you're like, well, dang, it seems that there are bad things in life and there are good things in life, and they kind of line up, and you start recognizing patterns and like, oh, dang, so like some people are pretty right about this stuff, and not, they're on point. They got like, oh, that's pretty good advice. That's pretty good advice. And then you start finding good advice, and you start thirsting it for like water, and then you start finding the truth.
Well, that's why these things
and
like the Bible become so
truths.
Famous.
Like you're saying, like everyone's gonna realize that like murdering someone is bad.
Right. You don't. Some society can figure that out and do it, and like, but we're never gonna see. My point is that humans suck at it. We suck at trying to make it right, and we're trying to make it right. We're trying to make things right, and we're doing things that we think is right, and is wrong.
We are also easily deceived.
I think that's a play out in this whole thing. I'm so right. I'm the right one.
And that's how they get easily deceived.
And they're like, I'm the right one.
It's a hubris.
Yes.
It's a pride that leads to the fall.
Right. I have the answer. And the answer doesn't ever come from one man or anything. So truth is truth. It exists outside of human.
Truth is the truth whether you believe it or not.
Right? Love is love. Hate is hate. Anger is anger. Good night, folks.